Hey, this is Bruce Boudreau, and you're listening to Empty Betters with Nick, Mack, and Harrison.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 173 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes. I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Nick Manella. What's going on, my friend?
What's up, dude? Happy to be back from NDW. Had some fun at the beach, but glad to be back and fired up for this Cup Final. It's going to be electric.
Yeah, we got the Cup Final preview for this year's Stanley Cup Finals coming at you. But before we get to that, we'll finish the intros. Going to toss it across the screen to my other co-host up in Wisco, Mac Vogel. What's going on?
What's up, everybody? Happy to be back. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing this, but I haven't really known what to do with myself the last couple days and the next few days without hockey. It feels a little weird, but watching a lot of baseball, so making it work.
Yeah, I heard you're a big Austin Voth advocate, so that's good.
My favorite.
And now I would like to introduce to the show who is no longer named intern, but formal member of the show, Mr. Jackson Gross. How you doing, bud?
Doing pretty good. I'm kind of the same boat as Mac of not knowing what to do overall with being done with college and everything. Watched the Cubs game today. David Ross is a fucking moron. I hate him so much. But outside of that, things are good. Got a potential interview for the in-arena host for the Chicago Wolves coming at some point.
Ooh.
So I'm excited for that. So
That'll be a good one.
We get tickets, right?
oh hell yeah, I get complimentary tickets.
Sweet.
Perfect. We'll take over the Admirals and the Wolves. We'll do it ourselves. What was I going to say? Oh, before we get going, and I know Jay's on the show, so he'll appreciate this. What are the odds? Like, if you had to just make up a random, odd in your head that back in September, I told you that in May, both the Boston Celtics and the Boston Bruins would lose Game 7 in Boston to two South Florida teams that are both the 8th seed entering the playoffs. Weird.
Yeah.
And that both of those Florida teams would wind up in the final.
Weird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's another part of the equation that I didn't think about. Holy crap. That's a hell of a parlay. But yeah, we're gonna get right into it. Question of the day. I'll give that off to Mac in a second. But before I do, just a reminder that this episode is brought to you by Brackish Life. If you're like us and grew up on the water and outdoors, then Brackish Life is perfect for you. They have a wide selection of gear from UV shirts to hoodies and hats. It is Real Bay apparel made by Real Bay people. Head to www.brackish.life today to check them out. A little salty, a little fresh. Brackish Life. Mac, QOTD.
All right, so I teed this one up for you guys. I was on my way home from work, and I was like, I thought of a good one, but it was kind of circumstantial, depending on some things that, depending on the specific answers of you three. So I polled these three gentlemen with three very vague questions, and based on their answers, I knew I could proceed with my question. So hopefully you guys are excited for this one. I know I am. Here we go. It has to do with the food industry and with amusement parks. So good stuff.
Of course, hand in hand, those things.
Yeah, of course. Your first option here. Has everyone had the experience of either going on one or seeing one, those big drop towers, right? Like at an amusement park. You're way the fuck up in the air, and usually the big ones are just the one big drop. They drop you once, you get to the bottom, that's it. Some of the smaller ones, there's the Frogger ones that go up and down, but for the purposes of argument, we're focused on the big boys, all right? Your first option, once in the morning and once at night, For the rest of your life, you have to get on one of these drop towers, and for this scenario, it's in your backyard, right? So don't worry about having to like go seek it out at your local amusement park. Also, for the purposes of this argument, it is the current tallest one in the world, which I looked up, by the way. It is the Zumanjaro Drop of Doom in Township, New Jersey.
Yep.
And the drop is about 415 feet, give or take. So yeah, that's the first option. You got to get on that thing and get dropped once, like first thing in the morning, right after you wake up, and once like right before you go to bed, like the last thing you do before you go to bed. All right. Everybody clear on that first option?
Yes.
Affirmative.
Wonderful. Option 2, also for the rest of your life, for 2 weekends per month. So like a Friday night, a Saturday night, and then maybe like a Sunday morning or afternoon. You have to work at like the busiest, craziest restaurant in your town. As either a server or a bartender. You can choose each time. But it's like, so like the month of May, I believe there were 4 weekends in it. So it'd be 2 weekends that you have to do this. And again, it's a Friday night shift, a Saturday night shift, and then like the Sunday brunch that weekend. You got to knock them all out in the same weekend. So you're giving up 2 full weekends to do that. And deal with, all the customers, all the stress that comes with that. Yeah.
Question.
Those are the options.
Good question.
I have some follow-up questions per
Of course.
usual.
Of course.
For the restaurant, what type of restaurant are we talking here? Is this we're talking like a steakhouse? We're talking like a dive bar?
We're talking like a trendy, like relatively new, kind of like all cuisine place. Like it's got
Blueback Kitchen.
It's got burgers, but it's also got tacos. It's got beers on tap, but it's also got margaritas. It's just like a big fucking well-oiled machine with a
like
menu
a
that's
Yard
like
House or a World of Beer or something like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the menu's like fucking 8 pages, and you can order fucking anything.
They have a thermometer for the wing sauce with like, the chicken that's not on fire, and then the chicken that's a lot on fire.
They've got all that. They've got so much that like as a server, it's hard to memorize like every single thing. As a bartender, it's also hard to memorize like all your specialty drinks and know how to just
Cheesecake
make normal
Factory.
fucking drinks. Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Great,
cool.
great.
Thank you.
Now we've got that settled. Jackson, what are your immediate thoughts?
See, I am deathly afraid of heights.
Which is one of the questions I asked these fellows. One of the 3 questions I started with.
Because I've gotten better. But the closest I've come to like anything like that was standing on the ledge of the Grand Canyon. So my mom, and this was a few years ago, my mom and brother were on the actual ledge, and then I was 1 ledge back. That's as close as I'm going to get. So, and even though I hated my 3 months at a pizza restaurant, I would probably go with being at a restaurant every weekend and not having a deal 400-foot drop every
If it helps at all, I can guarantee you in this scenario, you're not going to get hurt or anything. I don't know if that's like even part of your fear. I know a lot of people don't even like think about that part. They just like don't like the feeling of being up there, which is,
Do
totally
you know that going into it?
Yeah, like they guarantee you you're never going to like fall off or like die because of this. It's not going to malfunction on you.
Okay.
I would say mostly my fear is just being that high up. Like obviously there's the fear of like it's gonna break while you're that high up, but it's like shit, I'm super high. I'm not in the good way, and I don't want to deal with this. So
Not in a good way. I love that.
That was a good one.
Nick.
Oh, you guys are gonna think I'm insane, but I'm gonna take the first one. I
knew Nick would choose the
I kind of did the second one for about a year and a half.
I thought you were going to say you did the first one first.
No. Did the second one for about a year and a half, 2 years, and I don't know if I could do it again. I think I would like lose my shit at some point.
I feel that. I'm in a similar boat.
So I'm assuming, and I guess this may be a dumb assumption, but I'm assuming that if I were to choose the second one, that would still be on top of my normal job. Like, it's not like that's my only job.
That is a very good point. You have
All
a
right.
normal 9 to 5 job, but you also have to do that. But you get to keep the money from serving and stuff. Like, you're still making that money. So I mean, it's nice.
I know that's the
in a
part that's
way.
kind of that's the
You're
part
probably
that's
gonna
tugging
you're
at
probably
me.
gonna clean up, honestly, at like a super busy restaurant.
Sure.
6 days a month. That's probably like a few like, I don't know, 500-600 extra bucks, depending on anywhere from
Yes.
like 400 to 600, I'd say, a month.
But for the rest of my life, as scared of heights as I am, I think I'm going to take option one. I'd take option one.
Okay.
Wow.
I bet
feel
you
like
did not
the
expect
option
that.
one, like that would be better than coffee to wake you up in the morning. Just
So
like
that's
free
good. But
falling,
think about
got some
before
adrenaline
night,
going.
how much adrenaline you're gonna
Yeah.
have right before bed. All of a sudden, you're like,
Yeah.
God, I
That-
just got
yeah.
dropped from 400 feet in the air, and now I gotta
That would be bad.
And
leave. Like, also, I was thinking about, like, I know I said the ride's not gonna malfunction, but I'm not guaranteeing like you're not gonna face any like long-term issue. Like, I'm not sure it's good. I'm not sure it's
Whiplash.
good for the human body to be like catapulted from the sky twice a day for your whole life.
Probably not.
although, how good is the stress on your body and your mind? Like
That's
every
true.
weekend
At a
with
restaurant,
a full-time
on
job
your
and a
feet,
restaurant.
Bad
Yeah.
knees, carrying big
like-
trays. That's a good point.
Like,
It's a
and how much of a
trade-off.
break do you have? Is it like a 10 or 15 minute break, or do you get like a half an hour to an hour?
I just
during that
assumed we're
shift?
doing like a double here, like 9 a.m. to like 10 p.m.
I was kind of picturing, since you have a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, I was kind of picturing your Friday shift as like a 5 to close. Your Saturday is like a double, like just like open to close basically. And then
Oh.
and your Sunday is just like the brunch shift.
or like the football shift.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, chuck me off the tower.
I'm doing the tower,
Yeah.
which like the reason I wanted to preface with those follow-up or the pre-questions for you guys was because I could see some people listening to this, and there's probably some people listening right now who are like, the first option doesn't even sound bad to me. Like, and I'm sort of in that boat. I love amusement parks and I love rides and stuff. And I actually like drop rides. But even I am like, I don't think, like what I said before, I just don't think it's good for you to do that twice a day.
Probably not.
And
Yeah.
the before bed one really sits wrong with me.
That's the,
Could you
that's the
imagine
kick.
like coming home from the bar just like trashed, and before you lay down, you have to go in your backyard and drop 412 feet or whatever it was?
Everyone's like, all right, man, I'm going to bed, like your roommates and shit. You're like, see you in the morning. You're like,
You're
yeah,
like,
all right,
"What?"
all
Hey,
right,
but-
see you in the morning, man. I just hear you just like scream the whole way down. You
So we
get
have a-
off. You're just, all right, good night.
We have a consensus answer here, I believe.
No,
think we
I took
did.
the restaurant.
Oh, you
true,
did?
You did.
Yes.
You did.
I took the
Oh, I
restaurant.
thought you were like prefacing your answer.
No.
Oh, hey,
No.
I'm terrified of heights too, by the way. If I went to the Grand
Yeah.
Canyon, I'd be on the ledge of the ledge of the ledge. So
And for everyone out there, the 3 questions I started with for these boys before the show was, number 1, do you like amusement parks and rides of that sort? Number 2, are you afraid of heights? And number 3, have you ever worked in the restaurant industry or the bar scene? Because I feel like depending on your answers to those questions, you could have very different impressions of this question. Like, if you've never worked in the restaurant industry, you might be sitting there like, oh, that doesn't sound that bad or whatever, but you got to know.
I answered one of those wrong, by the way. I realized afterwards. So yeah, I forgot that my freshman year of college, I worked at a Panera Bread for 3 months, and then I quit because it sucked
Counts.
so much.
Counts.
It counts, yeah. But man, did it suck. That was
Yeah.
a horrible gig. Don't ever.
Wait, you
work
said
there.
of college or high school?
College.
Okay. I was about
College.
to say, you did not work at the one next to Calvert Hall, please.
No.
Oh my God.
Now
Please,
there's
God.
Oh my
that's
God.
If you made me work at that one Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I will easily take the roller coaster.
Okay, but
every
that
time.
one's not even that bad. I mean, yeah, it's high school students during the day, but they close at like 9
Oh.
p.m. every day. You'll be fine.
Yeah, but that
You can still go out
3:30
every night.
that 3:30 rush hour with all those stupid little 15-year-olds
mean,
being
yeah.
assholes.
And they're
Plus
all
the-
just getting like water cups and like a bagel and then like fucking around.
The
in there.
hungover sorority girls from Towson live right across the street too, so they're going to
Yeah.
be there all the time.
Not
Pick your-
ideal.
Pick your
Yeah.
Plus,
poison.
like all the after school athletes kids going in for like
Yep.
carb load and all that kind of stuff.
Yo.
Yep. Yeah. Well, good QOTD, Mac. I like that one. I like the polling beforehand. That added a
Yeah.
little spice to
Thanks
it.
for thanks for choosing Zumanjaro, the drop of doom. I'll see you all in New Jersey.
All right. Well, with that, we will move on to the conference finals wrap up. Not going to go too in depth here. We all know how the series ended. This is mostly to focus on the Cup final preview. But in the East, we have the Panthers sweep the Hurricanes 4-0. And then out West, I believe we last recorded when the series was 3-0. Max said he would not even entertain the conversation of the Stars winning unless it got to 3-2, which it did. I was thinking about that during Game 6, and then
It got to
Vegas blew it out of the
3-2
water.
in technicality and not much else.
I mean, yeah, that
Because the second that Game 6 started, it wasn't 3-2.
The second Jamie Benn stepped back onto the ice, it wasn't 3-2.
Yep.
that is also
Yeah.
a fair statement.
We might need to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Would you have left him out of the lineup?
Yes.
I don't think you can personally, like as DeBoer, and like if I'm because that's a lose-lose, right? Like
It is.
if you're the GM and you're watching your coach like make that decision, if you even allow him to make that decision, and they lose, like you are fired. Like you're like that's just you cannot. You're like we're paying this guy how much, and he's our captain, and you're gonna try to send a
gonna bench him?
message and bench it, whatever. Like, but if it doesn't work and you play him, which is what happened, it's just like, well,
Everyone's going to say, should you have sat him?
right, exactly. So I don't think it was really even an option. Do I think he made the team worse? Yeah.
I don't even know if there was a
although-
roster move that could have saved them from that.
That's true
absolute
too.
ass
honestly,
whooping.
though.
So I know he's like a nightmare, like scenario wise, because he's got that no movement clause. He's locked up
Yes.
for what is it, like 7 million or something ridiculous like that.
I think it's 9.5.
Oh
I'll double check.
God! And I know everyone's like, they're not gonna pull Minnesota and buy this guy out. I'm sorry, but at what point do you just bite the bullet and say you cannot play for this franchise ever again?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
He
It's
had
a
a sick
weird
year
one.
though.
No,
He had a really
that's
good year.
exactly why I'm saying it's like it's so.
But he did, and they're right back where they started, though.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think it's easy to point the finger. I mean, I even just said it. I was like they're a worse team with him or whatever, and like maybe that's true, but I don't know. I would have to watch more Stars to like fully give an educated opinion on this. But from what I can tell, I mean, he's still your captain. He still probably does more good than harm like most of the season when he has a good year like he did last year. So I guess you kind of just got to hope he does that and maybe figures out the fucking extra bullshit that he always adds on top.
Yeah, I think so.
2 years at 33 years old, no movement clause, 18 or $19 million left.
Yeah, I
That's
feel like
rough.
with 2 years, you kind of just got to suck it up and
Yeah.
have him for 2 more years.
That's
and
true.
Have that be it. I mean, he'll be 35 and somebody can give him a 1 year fucking $2 million deal if they feel like it after that. But
Vancouver.
yeah.
And for those curious, they would still have a cap hit of 8.8 million if they bought him out for the next 2 years, and then like a cap hit of like 600K the following 2. So
Yeah, seems more worth it to just keep him and hope for the best.
yep.
What do you do you guys think Sagan leaves? I know there's a lot of discussion about whether this guy's going to stay in Dallas. I know a lot of teams are apparently interested in him. I know I've heard of one team that plays in a city that has a lot of monuments that apparently is interested in him. So what do you guys think about something like that? Mac, I really I don't think that would be good.
There's so many other guys I think would fit better and that we need more. I'd like to see us go after a guy like DeBrincat or maybe one of the guys that might be on their way out of Winnipeg, although not Scheifele, but one of the other ones.
I would take Sagan over Scheifele in a heartbeat.
I would too, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm interested in Ehlers a little bit if that's an option. I'm not really sure at this point. I mean, who knows what is an option, what isn't, but no, I don't really want Sagan, but like you said, if we got him and they made it work, I'd be interested to see pans out. I do think that like somebody that's not the Capitals will probably make him a good offer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I was gonna say,
So it's just a matter of time before the Red Wings do that.
Yeah, I could see that.
yeah, he does have a no movement clause as well. So it'd be up to him to decide where he wants to go for another 4 years at 9.8. Like at that point, what are you willing to give up for a guy who had 50 points in 76 games?
True. Very true.
Joining from the phone here. We are having some technical difficulties on my end, so apologies. Nick, if you don't mind, until I get up and running here, would you want to take the wheel?
Yeah, absolutely. Any final thoughts here on that conference finals that was, let's be real, a total dud?
Listen, you can point the finger at Jamie Benn. You can say whoever didn't show up and who, you can make excuses, but I think Vegas was just the better team in this series, and they deserve to win. So that's kind of what it comes down to for me.
I still would have set Jamie Benn simply for the fact that the Stars were 2-0 without him in the lineup and 0-4 with him in it. That's enough reason for me.
Harry?
I mean, with the way that Game 6 went, I think we saw that Vegas just kind of had it sitting in them all the time. So I would say Vegas was just the better team. Ottinger really didn't look that good to me at all, to be honest. Not trying to throw the goalie under the bus here, but Vegas clearly better, and they definitely deserve to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our Stanley Cup Final preview. We have the Panthers coming in at a plus 105 against the Golden Knights. Yes, you are hearing that correctly. Do not go get yourself checked. At minus 125. All these games are going to be on TNT. All of them are slated for an 8 p.m. Eastern start time. Here's the schedule for the first 4. Game 1 in Vegas is going to start on Saturday. So before I read off the rest of the schedule, I feel like we need to talk about something, because this is the second longest layoff that a team has had going into the Cup Final from one series to another. I think it's 10 days, and they missed it. And I think the earliest one was Anaheim in 03 or 01 or something like that, by like 1 day. I think it was 11. Are you concerned at all about that?
I'm not concerned about it. I mean, being a Caps fan and seeing how bad that team is after even just a few
6
too
hours
many days off. Yeah, literally. But no, it'll be interesting. I mean, Vegas, when the last time they were in the Cup Final 2018 against the Caps, I believe they were the ones sitting around for a little bit, not that long, but and it kind of had an effect on them. I mean, I know they won Game 1, but I thought they were just kind of flat-footed in that series. And I think you could point at a lot of different situations in not just Cup Finals, but different playoff series where team has had too much time off and they lose Game 1 and then just never come out of that hole. So, I mean, I hope for the Panthers' sake, that's not what we see there. I hope for hockey's sake, that's not what we see here too, because it might be a quick series if that's the case, but that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
A bunch of hockey players that just had a 3-day weekend in South Florida, guys. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out.
Moving on, we got Game 2 in Vegas. That's going to be on Monday. This is where it starts to get a little bit weird for NHL scheduling. Game 3 in Florida is going to be on Thursday, so it's going to be a 2-day break between games, and then we have another coming at you. Game 4 is going to be in Florida on Saturday. Let's talk about how these teams got here. And I want to start with Florida first, because they've been the team to talk about all postseason long so far. They beat Boston in 7, Toronto in 5, Carolina in 4. Just, I mean, that says it all right there to me. They started out with this 3-1 hole against the Bruins. They find a way back into this game. They find a way to tie Game 7 late, win it in overtime. And they've just been like the Indiana Jones boulder, in the beginning of, Raiders of the Lost Ark, just rolling downhill, steamrolling people ever since. I mean, do you say momentum is still with this team at this point?
It's such a hard thing with, like you said, that long layoff that they're on right now. I don't think it'll matter too much for them. When you got the mojo going, maybe they'll probably be a little rusty, probably in like the first 5 to 10 minutes of game one. But once they get their legs back underneath them, I think they'll be fine. They know the story that's been on them this entire playoff run as the underdog in every single series. They're going to be underdog again in the Stanley Cup Final. It's something they're probably using to galvanize themselves. Plus, also the dog bone that they have been using this entire playoff run, which has been fucking hilarious.
Also, I think there's an argument too to be made that by this point in the playoffs, more time off is your friend, right? I mean, you've got guys that are probably pretty hurt, pretty tired, pretty old, whatever it is. And for those guys, I'm sure they don't mind having enough time here to really kind of recharge that battery for one final push for the big trophy. I think that's and I'm sure Paul Maurice is gonna strategize when they're practicing and what they're doing at practice in a way that is helpful for them to kind of build that momentum back up heading into game one. That's what I'm hoping, at least.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think the time off will necessarily be bad. I mean, let's not forget they had a 4 overtime game, so they really played 5 periods worth of hockey, if not more. Barkov was a little dinged up near the end there. Getting him healthy will be good. I don't know. I'm not surprised at the odds for the series. Vegas, probably should be the favorite. They have home ice. I don't remember a time when a team in the Cup Final had home ice and wasn't the favorite. But Florida's definitely going to be carrying that momentum. I would be shocked if they didn't. They've done it, 3 times now, so I'd be shocked if they didn't do it a 4th.
Pressure is still 100% on VGK.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the Knights. They beat the Jets in 5, Edmonton in 6, and Dallas in 6. So sort of mirror images here, as Florida's path has gotten shorter, Vegas's path has gotten more difficult. They're 12-5 in the postseason. Out of those 12 wins, 6 of them saw Marchessault or Stevenson score the game winner. Those 2 guys have been absolutely unreal for this team. This team has been fantastic, in my opinion. What are you guys looking for out of this team that's going to help them beat the Panthers?
I think you need the goaltending to be sharp. I mean, I'm just going to say the cliche things here, right? Like goalies need to be sharp. Your stars need to be good. You need the depth scoring. If you want me to think of something that is maybe not quite as obvious that I could say is, I guess, I feel like the power play has been really important for a lot of the teams down the stretch here in the postseason in general. So I think maybe I go with whatever team has the more lethal power play and is actually capitalizing on their PP chances here. Maybe that's who I give the edge to.
Yeah, to that point, I think one of the best things that Vegas brings to the table is how balanced their offense is. They're the best 5-on-5 team in this playoffs that we've seen. They've got, I think, they've got 7 players with 11 or more points at this point. They really distribute the puck well. I think they're around 18% on the power play. I think Florida's probably 10 points above that, if I remember correctly. But I think both of those teams are definitely capable of scoring. This Cup Final is definitely going to get interesting. Regardless of the outcome, a team is winning this Cup for the first time. They really have only been to one, each prior to this. Florida went in 96 and got swept by an absolute wagon of a team in the Colorado Avalanche. And then, Mac, what was the other one? I mean, when did Vegas go? What was that all about?
I don't even
know.
Does
does anyone know?
I'm trying to think. I think
oh my God.
Last one for the playoffs, I promise.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I'm just taking a look at this. My biggest concern with Vegas is goaltending. I mean, Aiden Hill has been rock solid pretty much this entire playoff run, but how much is he going to be able to last with that, considering most of his career he's been a backup goaltender?
Now
can he keep it up for?
Now I've got Bobrovsky on the other side. It's a little intimidating.
Exactly. But I think what's going to help them is that, and shout out to Stat News, 5 of their defensemen are in the top 10 to 15 in shots blocked in this playoffs, including 2, 3, and 4. So I think they're going to do a really good job of getting in front of shots. I mean, Alec Martinez is 44, Braden McNabb is 41, Alex Petrangelo has 41. So as long as they can continue to stay in front of shots and limit the amount that Aiden Hill actually sees, I think they can do it.
I think Jackson, you're spot on, and their decor is a huge selling point.
Oh my God.
It's absolutely better than Florida's. It has been fantastic all playoffs long. Those guys just eat pucks left and right.
It so reminds me, if I can make a parallel to at least the last one, the 2015 Hawks defensive core. You had Duncan Keith, Brent Seabrook, Nicholas Hjalmarsson. I think they still had Johnny Oduya at that point. So those four guys, plus I don't know if they had Rosefall. I think
Was
they had
Letty still there?
No, Letty left after they lost to the Kings in 2014. Okay. I think they had like Connor Murphy or something like that. Someone in the fourth spot. But
gotcha.
Yeah, no, it's just a decor that gets in front of shots and can create offensive chances.
One more thing about Vegas. Should they win the Cup, they will be the fastest expansion team to do so. The Flyers currently hold the record at 7 seasons. Vegas is currently in their 6th season here. The Oilers, coming from the WHA Canada, does not count because duh.
That's an interesting stat. I didn't realize that. Yeah, that would have been a good trivia question, actually. I didn't realize the Flyers held that record.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, obviously the circumstances are different. I think, it just shows how impressive that Flyers team was, because that, what was it, 72 expansion? Basically, the league just doubled in size out of nowhere. So they were pulling guys from pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, that's an interesting note. Definitely something, that's a good tidbit there.
All right, hard-hitting time. Time to give some predictions. So I'm going to ask you guys to give me a series winner, a Conn Smythe winner, and who's the X factor in this series. Every Stanley Cup Final's got that guy. It's like maybe the guy on the 3rd line or the 4th line that just ends up scoring like 3 goals in the series, maybe gets a big overtime winner. For the Washington Capitals, Devontae Smith-Pelly comes to mind. I'm sure if Harrison's internet was working correctly, he would, jump down our throats with Max Talbot stuff.
True, yeah.
Maybe you're Vancouver in 2011 and Alex Burrows gets you as close as you can, but you end up blowing it.
Fuck Alex Burrows.
Anyways, all right, Mac, I'm going to start with you, putting you on the hot seat first.
All right. A winner, I'm sticking with the Cats. Meow. They're winning this cup. They're not making it all the way there just to lose. Conn Smythe winner, I'm going to go with Matt Tkachuk. That's what I said before. I really think that he's been like the most valuable player for that team all the way through. And I think he will continue to do so on the biggest stage here in the final. Just to pick someone other than him for the X factor though. I'm going to do something interesting, kind of like the Burrows thing that you just said. I'm going to pick somebody on the Knights who I think is going to be the X factor. Even though I don't think they're going to win the cup. I think Chandler Stevenson is going to continue to do everything he can to get that cup to Vegas. And I think it's going to be just not quite enough. But he has been phenomenal this postseason. And I think I don't see any reason that would stop now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. I love that he's getting the attention now. I mean, we knew what a special player he was, what a great skater the guy is too. So, nothing but good things to say about the guy. I actually had a buddy text me the other day saying like, dude, who are you rooting for? Because he knows I don't really, like either of these teams, or at least I didn't coming into the postseason. And I told him absolutely rooting for Florida, but Chandler Stevenson is making me strongly consider pulling for the Knights.
He's so fun to root for and fun to watch. Like you said, he's just speed demon all over the ice. And he's got a nice pair of mitts too. He loves that little forehand backhand through the legs there on the breakaway.
Oh yeah.
I think this has been tough. I think I'm gonna have to go Florida. I've picked Florida against Florida in every single series up to this point. I picked Boston. I picked Toronto. I picked Carolina. It's time that I finally jump on the bandwagon and finally go with Kitty Goes Meow. The guy I think that is going to be huge for Florida this series is going to be Carter Verhaeghe. He's had some unusually clutch goals. It reminds me of Lehkonen from the Avalanche last year. Just some
That's a good comparison.
random ass like big goals throughout the postseason. He's actually leads the team in plus minus, so team is better with him on the ice. Conn Smythe, if Florida wins, it'll be Kachuk. If Vegas wins, I'm gonna say Eichel.
Wow.
I think he's finally gonna step up and shockingly win a Stanley Cup before Connor McDavid, even though Eichel spent a lot of time on a much worse roster than McDavid did.
And he's going to love that too, because being drafted second just absolutely killed him inside.
I don't know if he has a Twitter, and I don't know if Connor McDavid has a Twitter either, but I would love it if he just had just at Connor McDavid and just him holding the cup. Just that's it. No other context needed.
All right, and this is Harry. Sorry, my internet's being so shitty today, but I'm gonna go with give me Vegas in 6. I don't really buy into the whole
because they're my
Caps
fourth
thing.
favorite out of my 9 favorite teams.
Exactly. And my boy Jack Eichel is the Conn Smythe winner, obviously. And for X Factor, since I freaking love the Toronto Maple Leafs so much, we'll go with former Leaf William Karlsson. He's just a beauty of a player, so that's easy for me.
All right, great picks, Harry. Great picks. Guys,
yes,
this is gonna get interesting.
What's up?
Because the Vegas Golden Knights are gonna win the Stanley Cup.
No, Nick.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't do that, Nick.
I toiled with this all day, and I was like, am I really gonna do this? Am I really gonna do this? Yes, I am. It's the most balanced offense. It's everything that I've seen out of them. Just look at the goalies they've been through. Hellebuck, Skinner, Ottinger. 2 out of those 3 goalies are actually very good. So that's impressive. I don't know. I just think this team just doesn't go away. Everything I was saying about Florida being the team of destiny last week, I saw in Vegas. I saw the way that William Karlsson shut down Rupe Hintz in the conference final. That was incredible. I think the defense, the forward depth, it's all just going to be too much. And as long as Hill is okay, I think they're fine.
Man, I kind of like, the problem is I'm buying what you're selling, and like I know all this to be true, but I'm just not willing to acknowledge it. And I want to continue to live on my my little kitty cloud nine lives little magic carpet and ignore everything below. So that way, when the Panthers actually do win, I can be like, I was right. I never had a doubt.
Told you, duh.
And you guys are all wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely will still be rooting for the Panthers. I do not want the Knights to win the cup. I just think it's going to happen. I think for Conn Smythe, you can't overlook Marchessault at this point. The guy just continues to score big goals, big games. It's like every series clinching game, even if it's not like the game winner. It's like if they blow him out 6-0, he's still going to score because it's a huge game and he, steps up. He's like Verhaeghe or Anthony Cirelli guy or Jordan Eberle, just big goal after big goal. And then
all good comparisons.
My X factor, Keegan Colasar. This is a guy who's really starting to find his game.
Look at Mr. My opinion is different than everyone else's over
He's
here.
been running people over left and right. His former team, the Thunderbirds, are kicking ass in the Mem Cup right now. So, he's fired up about that. And he's starting to find his passing game too.
All right. Hey, I like it. I appreciate the obscurity here, but I fully hope that you're wrong.
So, me too. Don't get me wrong.
Okay. Word.
See, Nick, I feel like you're undercutting the value of how much of a dog that's in the Florida Panthers right now. They have so many dogs
probably
right now.
Yeah. Cats and dogs, really.
That's true. That's very true.
Let's talk number of games. We said winners. What was the official number of games here, boys?
I'm gonna go. You know what? I think I said this last episode, and I want to just try to continue to will it into existence. Cats in 7. Give me another 7-game cup final. It's been too long since we've had that. And yeah, I'll be happy.
I'm gonna go with I've been bold this entire playoff prediction run. I had the Kraken and the Maple Leafs in the Stanley Cup final heading into this. I'm gonna continue to be bold. I'm gonna say Florida in 5.
Wow.
I'm like, we all thought that Carolina series was gonna go 6 or 7, and look what happened.
So
It went
Vegas,
4.
If Vegas lost in 5 again.
Again?
Oh, please give it to me. Give it to me.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, probably more logically, I'm thinking it's probably gonna go 6 or 7, but I thought logically about every other series that's happened as the playoffs has progressed, and I've been wrong. So I'm just gonna go bold and say Florida in 5.
And if you made me pick, I mean, I already said Vegas in 6, so that's Harry's pick. And then also, I don't know why the fuck I said William Karlsson used to be on the Leafs before. That was wrong. I'm an idiot. And thirdly, I actually got to go for like a really long run right now, so I'm not going to be on the rest of the episode. But I'll talk to you guys later.
Oh, that was fantastic. That was fantastic. Oh, I'm gonna go Knights in 7. I feel like I have to do like the responsible thing and like put the 7 games out there into the world to will it to
Dude,
7 games.
saying.
So congratulations to the Florida Panthers on sweeping the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup final.
There we go. Love it.
Let's get into some discussions, but before we do, I just want to take this opportunity to remind everyone that this portion of the episode is brought to you by Kane Footwear. I was at the beach all week. Didn't really feel like wearing flip-flops on the beach. They're annoying. You know, you have to take them off before you go down the stairs to cross the dunes. You get sandburrs stuck in the bottom of them. Those go up in your feet. It sucks. So I just put my Kane Footwear on, which you see Jackson holding up right now. Super comfortable, super cool on the beach. Came back up, afterwards, sprayed them off with the hose. All the sand is gone. Head to the link in our bio to get a pair of the most comfortable shoes you will ever own.
And may I just add that I also wore mine to the beach on Lake Michigan this past weekend. My roommate came with me. He has a pair. He was rocking his as well. And we got lots of questions while we're out there of what are those? Where can I get them? So, yeah. Go buy some. They're sweet.
Yeah, check them out. Sweeping the nation. Discussions. Let's get into it. The Florida Panthers. Did you guys watch them wrap up that series?
Sure did.
Okay. They had no issue touching that Eastern Conference trophy, whereas the Vegas Golden Knights did not touch the one from the West. What were your thoughts on that, and what are you doing in that situation?
So I think the Panthers definitely made the right call. I loved, was it Kachuk's explanation for it? Somebody said it that was like, we made it all the way to fuck here. We're touching that trophy. We earned it. And I think that's the exact right attitude. If you're Florida, you don't have any reason to be superstitious right now, man. You're just doing things right, and you're this far. You earned it. Go freaking touch that trophy and celebrate, even though there's still some more work to be done. Vegas, I don't know. Recently, I've kind of gotten away from the superstition in general. It seems like more and more teams are just touching it, and no one's having a problem. And I saw some stat that was like, this team touched it, this team touched it, this team didn't, these teams won, whatever. And there's like, just no
the Sharks are the only one to get screwed over by touching it.
Right. But there's like that just proves there's like no fucking correlation to this shit. And I know obviously I'm like, everybody knows that it's just a superstition or whatever, but I don't know. At this point, I'm like, touch the fucking trophy, take it off the ice, and shut the fuck up.
Ovi did it. That makes it okay, right?
Exactly.
Although I will say that Vegas did touch it in 2018. So maybe that's
why they're not.
Exactly. That's pretty much why.
Did you guys see Kachuk like grab the trophy like before Barkov even touched it?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Can we talk about that for a second? Like he didn't even shake the dude. I'm assuming it was just Bill Daly. He didn't even shake the guy's hand. He just grabbed
he
the
just
trophy.
Went right over there. But that's my point. That's kind of the sentiment for these guys. They're like, holy shit, look at this. We just won the Eastern Conference Final. Give me that.
Dude, you're not the captain.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably breaking a little bit of the rule there, but I can't be too pissed at him. Dude's excited.
They're fired up. I'm gonna touch it. Yeah, you absolutely made it there.
Yeah.
I mean, don't like carry it around and like kiss it and like pass it around like the
Oh
cup.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, no.
but like if you're on the way like back to the bench, like captain holds it up, gives it like a quick
Yeah.
like fist
Fuck
pump.
yeah,
Yeah,
boys.
that's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Next one. Who were you more disappointed by in the conference finals, Dallas or Carolina?
That's a tough one. I think we kind of touched on this with a similar question an episode or two ago, but I mean, I guess you have to say Carolina, right? They got swept. They couldn't even win one game. I mean, fucking Rod Brindamore in his post game conference. All respect to the guy, but he sounded drunk or something. He was like, we didn't lose."
That's the worst quote I've heard since.
I mean,
Trent
we
Dilfer
did.
said-
If you look at it, we did, but we didn't. You can't tell me we lost 4 games. Like, dude, just holy shit. Do you even know what just
yes, we
happened to
can
you? Like,
tell you that.
yeah, like, dude didn't even know what to say about. Like, yeah, I think I would have to go with. That's crazy. The season they just had and the postseason they just had, and they can't win a game against the Panthers in the ECF. That's crazy.
What did he say? Like, we didn't lose 4 games. I'm like,
yeah. He's like, you can't.
What do you
tell
think
me
is
we just lost
happening
4
right
games.
now? Like,
yeah, and then he's like, I mean, I know we did, but like, we didn't.
Like, I don't know how you even say that, but
like, oh well, technically I was half right, so it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I actually gotta say Dallas, guys. I've been really like, I've been a J-Rob truther all year. You guys know that. I probably beat that thing dead, but I just thought they were going to figure it out at some point instead of this inconsistency continuing throughout the postseason. I mean, Carolina, when they were down 3-0, I was like, they're done. I mean, at least Dallas, they're down 3-0. They've got a little bit more fight. They come back and then just lay that absolute egg in game 6. Maybe I'm just a little bit bitter because both of those elimination games between the NHL and NBA that night were complete duds, but I'm going to say Dallas.
Yeah, I was excited to watch both of those, and there wasn't much to be excited about. But
I think I went to bed at like 9:30. I was like, this
yeah.
fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Dallas too. I mean, yes, the 3 of the first 4 games were in overtime, but 2 of the most important games, they lay an absolute dud. Game 3, they lose 4-0. Game 6, you lose 6-0. Like, yes, Carolina lost every game, but every game was within 1 and was very winnable. That's
what Brindamore was getting at, right? Being like,
Yeah,
I mean, we were right in it, which I get, but he still sounded absolutely off his rocker.
They don't ask how, they ask how many.
Yeah, and it's like you say, like, oh, we were in every game, but we just didn't do enough. That's what you say. That's what you say as a head coach, not like, oh, we didn't lose 4 games, we just kind of lost 4 games. Like,
no, exactly.
You sound like an idiot, but yeah, definitely Dallas. They played worse, and I think they just look so bad.
Yeah, they definitely played worse. I think that's a great way to put it. What storyline are you most looking forward to in the Stanley Cup Final? I know we got a bunch of them. We got the Stahl brothers. That's a big one. We've got the goalie battle. Mac, what are you looking forward to the most?
I said this when we got to our weird kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Twilight Zone-esque Final Four, that I was like, well, one of the cool potential remaining storylines here is we could see Jonathan Marchessault against the Panthers, who abandoned him. Big revenge series for him. So I think that's kind of an interesting storyline, something maybe some of the fans don't know about, some of the newer NHL fans anyway. But yeah, I mean, the Panthers, being they, chose not to protect him back in the 2017-18 expansion draft, and then he's one of the few Golden Knights that remains on that team from the original VGK squad. So that'll be an interesting one that I'm kind of looking into.
Yeah, to echo everything you just said, I think another player is Riley Smith. Same situation, and that's a storyline. Those 2 guys going at their former team, they're going to bring it.
True, I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I'm definitely excited about those guys getting the chance to, Florida's been sticking it to everyone this year, so these guys are going to get to stick it to them, hopefully. Can
you imagine if Vegas won it and it was in Florida too? And those boys just get to lift it up in front of their former crowd and be like,
just like cruise by the GM suite with.
That would be pretty badass, honestly. I would have to admit.
Yeah. Mine's a little bit more like basic. I know every matchup looks at the goaltending, but I think this one is especially interesting where you have a guy who everyone has belittled and made fun of for being overpaid, and Bobrovsky finally turning into Columbus Bobrovsky, where he's a 2-time Vezina winner. And then you got a career backup in Aiden Hill, who for the most part has carried Vegas through this run. Yes, he's got a good defense in front of him, but he's played spectacularly a lot of this postseason. So I think that's going to be the most interesting thing for me. I love watching goaltenders play. I think they're heavily underrated in terms of how important they are sometimes, but I'm extremely excited to see this goalie matchup.
They do play 60 minutes a night, man.
Yep.
Sometimes more. I think that's going to be a fantastic goalie matchup. Sometimes less. There you go. I know two that have done that a lot. In your opinion, who has the momentum advantage heading into the Stanley Cup Final?
We kind of touched on it earlier. This is a tough one, honestly, though. I mean, you could make an argument for both. I think I wish I knew off top of my head, Jackson, maybe this is something you could look up relatively quickly, how many current VGK members were on the team that lost to the Caps in 2018. I don't know how quickly you'd be able to get that, but
I think it's 6.
Well, either way, I know some of the main ones are still there, and I think that matters a little bit. I definitely think there's a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I mean, this has been the team branded as the team with the chip on their shoulder anyway, because of they're misfits, right? That's what everyone talks about. They're guys who their team didn't want them, a lot of them, or at least the ones from the expansion draft. But I think that there's a little something extra from tasting it your first season in Vegas in 2018, and then didn't even make the playoffs last year, and then all the other years you had some sort of bullshit, either the freaking Sharks comeback thing or this or that. And so maybe you could make the argument that Vegas kind of has some momentum, just like that's been building for years. But I think if you're talking about like this season, it's hard not to go with the Cats just because of the insane run they've been on and how little pressure there is on them still. I mean, if they lose, no one is going to like make fun of them or say shit or whatever. It's just, wow, what a run it was for them. They should be proud. Whereas if VGK loses, they are getting made fun of like badly.
Oh, they're going to be pissed. Like they're going to go into that locker room after the game and go, how do we fix this? This is a problem.
No, it's going to be a huge ass thing.
Whereas Florida is everyone's going to want to stay now.
No, literally all the like players, coaches, staff, they're all going to have to answer those hard questions if Vegas loses. Whereas the Panthers, I mean, they already fucking did the hard part. It's like,
sure,
we made it here. Anything else is gravy. It's been gravy since they won one game against the Bruins, basically.
And let's talk about gravy no, I'm kidding. I'm in total agreement with you. I think the momentum has to be all with the Panthers. I mean, you got Matthew Tkachuk going on NBA pregame on TNT. This is the team that everyone's talking about. I had OG friend of the program, Patrick Shea, come up to me at the Ocean Pines Yacht Club and go, dude, Florida, right? Like, I mean, everyone is excited about this team. So I'm fired up about them. I know I didn't pick them. Hopefully they can get it done, but I'm saying they have the Mo advantage for sure.
I have been slowly but surely digging through this roster for Vegas, and I believe it is 6 players. You got William Carrier, Carlson, Riley Smith, Shea Theodore, Braden McNabb, Zach Whitecloud.
Right. You said Marchessault, right? He was in there?
No, so that's 7.
Was he was part of the original squad, wasn't he?
It should be Marchessault, Carlson, Smith, Theodore, Martinez, or maybe not Martinez. Did they bring him over?
No, I think they brought him in.
McNabb. Right?
Yeah. Martinez was traded during the 1920 season.
Okay, but I guess you should count they don't have to have been picked from the expansion draft, but you should count anyone who was playing for them in the cup final during their first year. So like if they made any trade deadline, because that would still fall. Basically what I'm trying to figure out is who's still pissed off from losing the cup final in 2018.
Yeah. I think most of the guys I have here
were
yeah.
You know who we don't have to worry about is Colin Miller because he's already playing golf right now. But Sorry.
Anyway, we don't need the exact number. Thanks for looking it up anyway, Jackson. But
No problem.
that's yeah, I think that plays a little bit of a role regardless.
Let's move on to the news. Biggest hockey news, I think, to come out over the last week has to be this. Let's talk World Championships for a minute, something you probably never thought you would hear on Empty Betters, but the host country Latvia won their first ever medal at the IIHF World Championships, defeating the United States in overtime to win bronze. The scenes from downtown Riga were insane, of the team landing there, of the parliament basically declaring the Monday a national holiday. I had no idea, but hockey is the national sport of Latvia. The overwhelming support and the love and the excitement that I saw from this team and these players, I was like, dude, I don't even care that the United States lost. Like, I'm just so happy for these people.
Sick. Did you see the Elvis Merzlikins quote?
Yeah,
that was super cool. For those of you who don't know, Blue Jackets goalie, really positive guy in general, but he had a real cool quote that was just like super positive about how the Latvian team is on the up and up, and he's so proud of everyone that's on that team. And yeah, it was cool to see.
Felt like the whole entire country like showed out for them getting their first medal. So that's a really cool scene to see.
and the World Championship over here in North America is not a big deal. Like, Milan Lucic was playing on Team Canada.
What?
I love that. That's how you like
Just
explain that it's not a big
older
deal.
guys, and
It's
like
true. It is
and
pretty,
Adam
like,
Fantilli
random.
is like dangling through people like Connor
Sure.
McDavid. So you
But,
know,
like, yeah.
you know,
No, it's a weird one.
apples and very soggy oranges here, but it's a huge deal in Europe. Like, those teams train for that all year. They've got a squad that's
good for
playing
them.
together for that tournament all year. It's in their country, which, by the way, oh my God, when can we go to Riga? Like, I don't know if you guys saw any shots from that crowd, but I feel like Empty Betters would do very, very well there.
LOL. Well, yeah, maybe someday. In the words of the Magic Conch.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk some news here in terms of hirings and signings, because we've had a bunch of very important ones, and then some that, just haven't really been announced officially, shockingly. I don't know what's up with that. But the Maple Leafs have hired Brad Treliving as their next GM. What do you guys think about this move?
Feels like a hot decision. It's something you might even say is on fire, or might set your franchise up in flames, some might say.
What are you doing, man?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird one. I didn't
because it went so well in Calgary, right? And it's going so well in Toronto right now.
Yeah.
It's not like they just traded their American star who they made very disgruntled.
You're like, we want the guy who made
both of their
worst
American stars.
Give me the guy who made the worst decision of last entire hockey season. Give me him.
Well, that guy got fired from the Leafs.
True, actually.
After he signed those goalies, but
that's fair.
Man, I don't know, but like, I don't know. It's gonna be tough for Leafs fans, especially if what happens with Tkachuk happens with Austin Matthews. I think he's got 1 year left this current year. Like, it's gonna be tough, and I have a weird feeling that Matthews is gonna want to go to an American team at some point.
I think they all kind of want to do at this point.
Yeah, I think they're just kind of tired of dealing with whatever's going on in Canada that's making them like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Let's go ahead and move on with the Preds. They hire Andrew Brunette and John Hines within about 24 hours of each other. What do you guys think of that move? I think this one was probably due, and I love this for the Preds.
I think it's a great move for them. I know I texted you guys as soon as I heard the announcement. I did think it was kind of weird how they did that, where like they fired him at like the last minute and then just already clearly had this guy lined up and hired, ready to go. I feel like you don't see that play out that way that often, but to each their own, I suppose. But yeah, I think it's a great hire. I think he'll fit in well there under the whole Barry Trotz GM empire.
And I mean, I think we're seeing a lot more that former players are just becoming even greater coaches than they already were. And I mean, he did a really good job being put in a tough situation after Joel Quenneville was fired from Florida. So yes, they lost in the second round, but that was to the eventual team that made it out of the Eastern Conference. So I think can't put too much blame on that. So I think it'll be really good for Nashville. As a Blackhawks fan, I hate it a lot now that I actually kind of realize who he is. So hopefully the Predators do bad and he gets fired again, and I can just laugh at the Predators not allowing Blackhawks fans in unless they buy another ticket. So
sounds good. The Washington Capitals have hired a new head coach. Let's dive into this real quick. They have hired Leafs assistant Spencer Carberry as their head coach. Carberry previously spent the last 2 seasons as an assistant with the Leafs. Prior to that, the 41-year-old guided the Caps AHL affiliate, the Hershey Bears, to the league's best season record in 2021 and was named the AHL Coach of the Year. And then prior to that, he coached the South Carolina Stingrays and was the youngest head coach in the league at the time at 29. So we got a little stud coming up here for the Caps. Mac, what do you think about this?
All right, so I'll be quick, but I have a couple reasons why I like it and maybe 1 or 2 of the why I don't. I'll start with why I like it. He's got a great track record with our youth. You know, we heard Nick talk about the Stingrays and the Hershey Bears. He's done great things with both those organizations. And you know, he's got a good track record from players too. There's an app where players can go on and like anonymously rate coaches and rate reviews and stuff like that. It's kind of like a rate my professor type beat for all you college heads out there. But yeah, the ones I was able to see were all like glowing reviews, being like Spencer's like an unreal coach, really good dude as well. And like, but the only other thing that I'm a little concerned about is like the whole hasn't been a coach in the NHL thing. I mean, that always worries me a little bit. You never know quite what you're going to get. And I hate to say it, but I think back to the Todd Reardon thing where it's like, sure, maybe this guy's an okay assistant coach, but the assistant coach and the head coach have very, very different roles on a hockey team. And the assistant coach is almost like the good cop versus the bad cop for a lot of teams. Not everyone does it that way, but it's almost like the assistant coach is like your friend, your buddy, somebody you can really kind of level with a little more. I'm glad he's at least not going from like being an assistant on the Caps to a head on the Caps, because he doesn't already have that relationship with our players, except maybe Rasmus Sandin. Kind of weird, but
true.
No, I think it'll be a good hire, and I'm excited to see what a younger guy does for the Caps. I know there's a lot of Caps fans that are ready for somebody like that. So I'm on board for the most part, and I'm excited to see what happens. It seemed like this was going to be the decision all along, so I don't think anybody's too surprised.
I'm pretty happy with the thought of a younger coach and ideally a player's coach coming in to just put the fun back in that locker room. I mean, the Washington Capitals have always been a fun hockey team. I think anyone that has ever encountered them outside of the rink knows exactly what I'm talking about, but those guys like to have fun, and those guys are a bunch of goofballs. I think if you put a player's coach in there who can kind of be a little bit one of the boys and then, you know, steer them in the right direction. And, you know, Mac, to your point, you know, yeah, he hasn't been a head coach in the NHL, and hopefully he goes into that locker room and says, you know what, you guys have done this, you know, 60% of you in this room have done this, you know, be leaders, step up, show us the way, and let's go do it again.
I've been here the whole time. Didn't cut out for 30 minutes.
Wait a minute. Your voice, I thought earlier you had like a frog in your throat or something like that. And I thought you said you were going for like a really long run and never coming back.
I'd like to thank BGE for sponsoring this episode. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, lost power for about 30 minutes. I'm back. It's a cute thought, Nick. 60% of the guys have, taken a shot of vodka in that locker room at one point. So that's nice. Ovechkin coaches the team. I don't really think, like, dude, he literally is going to run the team. This guy is not going to, like, walk in here and put in some system. Like,
I don't know about run the team, but he's definitely got, like, the Mario card.
He ran the team. I mean,
yeah.
Ovechkin runs the team. So whatever Ovechkin wants to do, they're going to do. And that's that. I think they literally hired a guy who's just going to let Ovi do what he wants, which I don't think Laviolette did, is what I kind of gathered. So
Alex LaCoach.
Alex LaCoach. Yeah.
Whatever works.
We'll see how that works out. I kind of am sad I missed the cup predictions. That one kind of bothered me. But
you didn't miss it. Everyone heard you say it.
Vegas in 6. That's it.
All right.
Let's talk some American League here before we wrap up. As we speak, the Hershey Bears are currently up 3-1 in their series against the Rochester Americans and can close out tonight. Currently, the score is 1-0 Americans in the second period. This team has been so fun to watch over the last couple of days. If you guys haven't caught their games, they're all being televised on NBC Sports Washington. Check them out. Bunch of great hockey players. Alexei Protas is on fire for this team right now. And hopefully some good things coming to the big boys next season. Mac, get us caught up on the West.
All right, so Admirals dropped the first two games out in the hot Palm Springs of Coachella Valley against the Firebirds. But they came back to Milwaukee, won game 3, and so they're sitting down 2-1 in the series. Game 4 is the day you're listening to this. If you're listening on the day it drops, that would be June 1, Thursday. And if you're listening to this right now and it is still June 1st, head over to the Empty Betters Instagram story, because I am at that game right now and I am posting stories from the arena and I'm with all my guys and I'm having fun, and you're going to want to see the videos. So yeah, I'll be there to cheer the guys on and hopefully tie this series up. I know I talked a lot about how I really want to see a Bears Admirals Cup final. Get my dad out here. We can both go to the game in Milwaukee and be villains. Bears are doing what they need to do, but I can't go to no games in Hershey or Coachella Valley, so that doesn't really do much good for me. Need the Merles to win on Thursday. That's a big one.
Yeah, hopefully they knot it up.
Also worth noting, if you've been paying actual close attention, the goalie who's been playing for Milwaukee the whole playoffs, Askarov, did not play game 3. I think it was just because they lost the first 2 and they wanted to switch it up. So they went to Cooley, who's like a little bit more tenured in the AHL. He was kind of their guy a little bit like last year, and then lost the job. But yeah, he was lights out in game 3. Game 3. So it'll be interesting to see who starts game 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now that we're done wrapping up the AHL, let's get into some trivia to close out the episode. Just a reminder, trivia segment is sponsored by Elwood's Liquor and Tap. Support your local dive bar and have a beer at Elwood's, home of the Pizza Luge, located in the heart of downtown Milwaukee on Water Street. This 70s-inspired bar has a little something for everyone. From daily happy hour, rotating taps, free birthday perks, and a 4 seasons patio, a good time is always around the corner with the full NHL package, plus TV screens, indoors and out. Hockey fans can watch any game, anytime. Yeah, make sure you head over for the Cup Finals. They'll be showing every single game, and they've got drink deals too. If you're wearing Cats or Knights gear and your team's, if your team scores, that is, you get a free shot of Pink Whitney for every goal. So definitely rock your gear, rock your team, and don't leave your dogs at home too. They're a dog-friendly bar. So, bring them on down. I'd say bring your cats to be in theme with the Panthers, but I don't want to tell you to do something that's not allowed. I'm not sure how they feel about that. So leave the felines at home for now, but we'll get back to you on that one. Okay, trivia. Y'all ready for this one? This is a
Sure.
I'm a little worried this might be too easy, but it could go either way. It could.
Well, as long as you don't throw another Scott Young at us, I think we'll be okay.
Well, we forgot to tell the audience, if you listen to that episode where we couldn't get Scott Young, he got like nominated for the Hockey Hall of Fame. Like,
yeah,
2
dude
days
played like
after
1,000 games, like 700 goals or something.
And these boys
ridiculous
texted me and were like,
that, or
"Motherfucker,
700 points or whatever it was."
Stupid. This guy's getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. All right, well, let's jump on in. This one, I'll leave the whole thing vague, and there'll probably be like 2 or 3 blanks you could fill in here. Most of them will be pretty easy. There's really only one that I'm thinking will be hard. Maybe.
The power came on just in time. Let's go.
All right. So on June 1st, 2011, this team beat their opponent 1-0 in game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. And this player scored the only goal of the night with just 19 seconds left in the third period. This other player made 36 saves to become just the 6th goalie in NHL history to earn a shutout in his first Stanley Cup Final start. So you've actually got 4 blanks here. You've got team 1, team 2. Those should be really easy. The only goal scorer, and then the goalie for the winning team. And I am upset because I know Nick knows all 4 of them right away.
I think I do.
I know the first 2.
Yeah.
The last 2, I'm thinking.
Because I remember
all
the
of them should be-
starters. I remember the starters for both teams. I can't remember.
So Jackson, tell us the teams. Let's get that out of the way.
So it's the Bruins and the Canucks.
Yep.
Ding, ding, ding. All right. So we've got the first 2 knocked out. Then, Harry, can you tell us the goalie? You should be able to figure this one out.
So the goalie who won game 1.
This is game 1. They won. Either the Canucks or the Bruins won 1-0.
Yeah.
And they scored the game-winning goal with 19 seconds left in the third. And this goalie made 36 saves and became just the 6th goalie in NHL history to earn a shutout in his first Stanley Cup Final start.
So I might not. I'm trying to remember who won game 1. I want to say the Canucks won.
I was gonna say, was that Bobby Lou's?
I was gonna say Bobby Lou. Yeah.
It is Bobby Lou, Roberto Luongo.
Thank
Okay.
God.
All right. Before we let Nick do this, do either of you feel like you know who scored the 1 goal for the Canucks with 19 seconds left in the third to win it 1-0?
I have a guess.
Mm-hmm.
I have a guess.
All right.
Because he was mentioned earlier in the episode. I'm gonna say it was Alex Burrows.
That's who I was gonna say.
Fair guess, but it is wrong. This player was most certainly not mentioned earlier in the episode.
Nick, finish her off.
You guys are done?
Let me get one more.
If you have it, you have it. Okay. I was gonna say if you have it, you
All
have
right.
it.
Was it a Sedin twin?
It was not.
No.
Okay, then I'm cooked.
It's like a little bit of a deep cut player, but you should all know who this is. He's pretty iconic not for scoring goals necessarily.
I will have one last guess.
All right.
Okay.
Is it Bieksa?
It is
no,
not.
but you're barking up the right tree, sort of.
Okay.
Rafi Torres.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Rafi
Okay.
Torres. I just thought that was a fun one. When I saw that one, I was like, oh, we got to get a Rafi Torres trivia question going.
That was a good one.
You guys
Okay.
were close though. Burrows got the OT winner in game 2, and Bieksa got the OT winner in the game before to send him to the Cup final.
Right.
Dang, the Canucks blew a 2-0 lead. That's true.
Yeah, that's kind of why they burned the city down. That justifies it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, that's
Okay.
all of it.
Before we wrap up the show, since I missed for like the whole preview because BGE decided to, sabotage me. Who do you guys have for the Cup final? I'm not going to go into it deep. Just who do you
We
got?
already heard you tell us.
Yeah, I'm confused. You were here the whole time, dude. You get hit in the head or something?
Yeah, you know what? I gotta go take a sip.
The
of water.
BGE thing says wire down, red alert, don't go near, you'll get hurt. Did you not hear that part, or because you probably got hit in the head by like the freaking
Well, I got hit in the
pole
head
coming down or something, and then now you forget you were here the whole time.
Oh my God.
I hate my life sometimes.
That was a deep cut for anyone who grew up in Maryland.
Yeah. I hate my life sometimes.
75% of our audience.
I hope so. The other 25 are like, what the fuck
Honestly,
are these morons
Look it
talking
up.
about?
BGE commercial circa 05 or some shit.
And
I
do
hope
not,
it's
do
75.
not touch.
A message for BGE.
Oh God, you just brought up a lot of memories. Now it clicked.
Yeah.
Okay, don't tell me fun.
Harry, quick question for you real quick. I asked these guys what storyline, what matchup they're looking forward to in the Cup final the most. Do you have one that stands out to you?
I like the coaching matchup. I think it's a good one.
That's a good one.
No one said that. Yeah.
I like I think Cassidy getting canned, first kick at the can with the Knights. That's a big fuck you to Boston. And then Maurice, he kind of ditched Winnipeg because they had some locker room issues, and now he's on a team that nobody thought would be here, and here they are. So 2 guys who are in the Cup final. I think Nikki probably said this with their teams in their first season, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think both of these teams kind of have like Island of Misfit Toys vibes about them, which should make for a very fun Cup final.
Yeah.
please just let it be competitive, please.
Yes.
If there's one thing I'm
Yeah.
asking, please 6 or more games. That's all I'm asking. And
we
like
had such
no
a great first
blowouts.
round. Like just
At
don't
lea-
ruin it.
I want 6 or more games. I want at least 2 overtime games, and I want no goals decided by more than like 2, maximum 3 goals.
Yeah.
You really,
Within the final 10 minutes too.
Cats are 6-0 in overtime so far, so just keep that in mind.
And 9-0 going back to 2021.
Let's go.
Wow. I have one bold take and then we'll let y'all go. Here's my bold take. I truly believe this too. I think whoever wins game 1 is probably going to win the series. And I know that sounds overreacting, but Florida in the past 2 series has stunned everybody coming out game 1 on the road and winning. But Vegas, I don't know, man. I just feel like you don't want to give them that momentum off the start with home ice. So that's my bold take.
That's probably what everyone said in 2018 too. But does anyone remember who won game 1?
Live in the past.
Just saying.
More
No, it's
recent.
fair.
Now you
past
guys
than
are watching
some, just
AHL
saying.
playoffs. So
Yeah.
that's
And
where
where
it is.
and where are the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins? Or they're also playing golf along with the other Penguins.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm about to hire Kyle Dubas, and we're gonna run this shit back. You guys
Weird
can
that
have
it
it.
hasn't
Because
been announced
that
yet,
went
bud.
so
Worried
well.
about that, or-
'Cause running
it
it
was
back
supposed to be
always
announced
works.
the last 4 fucking days in a row?
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned. Is everything okay with that?
I
Or
mean,
is-
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
you know,
last
like-
I heard, from our good friend Nick Bowens, he DM'd me on Monday at 8:29 in the morning. I respect that, and said 90% chance that Dubas is GM and president of the Pens is what I'm hearing. Hope you guys are fired up. And I replied to him. I said, "Thank you very much. You guys are mean. He's being a nice guy to me.
But why isn't it announced?
yeah, I mean,
I
yeah,
work
the
on
que-
contracts. It's fun.
Okay.
It's fine.
Harry, take it for someone with me who's dealt with a GM who likes to run things back. Run.
Run? No, I ain't running.
Traded Panarin for Brandon Saad, getting Patrick Sharp back for no fucking reason, getting Andrew Ladd back for no fucking reason.
Yeah,
Run.
He
but-
loves his nostalgia.
Yeah, no.
All
You
right,
know, he's
let's
been
get
wor-
the fuck out of here, huh?
All right, real quick before we wrap up, first goal scorer in game 1, go.
Wild Bill.
Carter Verhaeghe.
Chandler,
The Duke.
Wow.
love that. Love.
Good answers.
I almost took a page out of Nick's book and said Keegan Coleslaw, but I had to
Love it.
All right, that's enough of that nonsense.
All right, everybody. Appreciate the love and support as always. Thanks once again for listening. And without further ado,
Class dismissed.